Well, hello and welcome, awesome students. My name is Dr. J, and over the next 8 weeks, I'll be your instructor as we dive into counseling process techniques, really just a therapy class, a survey of different therapeutic modalities. Again, over the next 8 weeks, this is going to be a fun opportunity for you all to get a little sample of all the many different therapeutic orientations or modalities within mental health, within the different therapeutic models. And certainly therapy is the cornerstone of our profession, and there's going to be times when some therapeutic modalities are more appropriate than others, and we're going to talk about some ethics and some considerations that you might have for different types of patients. And certainly as we go through the course, some of you are going to be more attracted to one model and a little less attracted to other models. And so again, this is going to be a fun discovery sort of class, if you will. Now, let me give you a little background about myself. I encourage you all to take a look at my introduction announcement that I posted. Actually, it's been up in the class for the last 2 weeks, but if you haven't had a chance to read through this, watch the little video clip here. I think you'll find it very interesting because I found in many cases my educational journey might be very similar to a lot of students in the program. I did not start out in the traditional sense at age 18 going off to school. I actually went to work and worked in many different professions, and at about the age of 30 the light bulb went on, sort of had an epiphany, if you will, and had a calling to want to become a psychologist, and started that path again at the age of 30. And I know a lot of students are in that adult learning mode and coming from another profession, and so let's rest assured that I've been there before and know where you're at. So a couple of things I want to talk about in terms of the course as we get into this material. I do have an expectation that students will meet commitments in this course. You have a commitment to participate in this course and submit your assignments and meet those deadlines. My commitment to you is that I will certainly be here. I will respond to your emails. I will grade your submissions, usually pretty quick. I generally will grade submissions pretty quickly. Usually Monday, Tuesday is my grading day. So if your submission is late and you kind of miss that window, chances are I might not grade it until the weekend or even during the next grading cycle. So if you keep up on your coursework, you're going to get very timely feedback. As I travel very extensively, pretty much full time, sometimes, my window, if I'm traveling or in transition from one destination to another, I can't necessarily log in because a student submitted something on Friday afternoon and grade that immediately. So please do keep that in mind, that your timely submissions will, of course, receive timely feedback. Another thing in regards to the submissions is I will absolutely enforce a late penalty on students who miss the deadline. So please do keep that in mind. That will certainly impact your grade greatly. Now, looking at the coursework, having a good solid understanding of the coursework and your expectations for the class, there is no reason why each and every student can't complete the coursework in the probably 3-4 days, first 3-4 days of the week, and be done and certainly have your weekends off. That's what I would personally encourage you to do. But again, make sure that your main discussion post is on the board no later than Thursday. I strongly encourage all students to write their replies right after that, same night or the next day, to have that done and off your plate. Don't wait to get these smaller things done. Guys, as a tip, as I've coached literally over 10,000 students in my career over the last 12 years, I strongly encourage you all to do your main discussion post Tuesday or Wednesday of the week. Write your replies shortly thereafter and be done with it so you can move on to the assignments. That will certainly serve you very well. In any regard, I do strongly encourage all students to make sure that you're submitting at least one day prior to the deadlines on all submissions, because problems seemingly come up right at the last minute. I have Well, I can tell you every single term I have students that are sending me emails at 11:30 and 12 o'clock at night on Sunday night to say that there was a computer problem or they had a family emergency or something came up and they couldn't get their submission in. And honestly, I don't care. Get your submissions in on time, and there will certainly probably be some consequences in terms of grading if you miss that deadline. So again, do yourself a favor, just get it done early. I can also tell you that as you get deeper into your program, and certainly many of you are getting deeper into your program now, some of the expectations on assignments are a little heavier. And so if those of you who wait till the last minute to even get started on your assignment, it will not be to your advantage as you get deeper into the program, and certainly into a graduate program. It will greatly work against you. So let's move on. Each and every week, I'm going to talk about the assignments on this video as I send you a little update. I'm going to give you a little preview and some expectations. And I got to be honest, if you watch this video, if you do the readings, you're probably going to do very well in the class. It's honestly that easy. You're also going to learn a lot in the process. But as we review the resources, we're going to talk about broad-based, here's what these types of modalities are, here's the differences between the theories, here's some of the reasons why we would want to use this modality versus that modality, or ethical considerations and things of that nature. You all are going to have an opportunity to see a lot of different therapeutic models. Some of them you're going to like, some of them you're not going to like so much, but it's really good that all students and ultimately all clinicians have a general understanding of what types of modalities will best serve their clients, what they specialize in, what might be something they want to refer out, and so on. But when a client talks to you, it's really a good idea to have some type of insight about the type of therapy they may be doing or have done in the past, or when they bring up something, you're going to know what they're talking about. So again, fantastic class to get a little overview of all of them. So let's talk about the readings. When you go in here, you're going to see that there is assigned readings for this class. You are all very familiar with this, and certainly I encourage you all to make sure that you're doing your readings. Again, I got to be honest, students that do the readings learn the most. They do very well on their submissions, and this is definitely a class you don't want to shortcut. But the readings you're going to find are not too difficult in terms of understanding the information here. And so we are going to talk about psychoanalytic therapy this week, or psychoanalytic theory. I myself graduated from a program that's very highly focused on psychoanalytic theory. And so I know this one inside and out, starting with Sigmund Freud. We'll certainly talk about Jung and some of the other leaders, if you will, or the forefathers in psychoanalytic therapy. And so this is a great opportunity to get your feet wet with really, kind of therapy 101, if you will. We're going to talk about person-centered therapy. The biggest name in person-centered therapy, of course, is Carl Rogers. He's highly focused on the client. He has a more softer side in terms of therapeutic orientation. And we're going to talk about really cognitive behavioral therapy, which in many cases is the go-to for a lot of therapists. It's generally the go-to in terms of a lot of treatment planning. If you're working in public agencies, you're working in community mental health clinics or hospitals, a lot of times a lot of the documentation or outcome-based work that we do is based around cognitive behavioral therapy. And so I myself I'm considered to be a CBT kind of guy, actually trained under Judith Beck. Which you're going to learn about Aaron and Judith Beck here over the next week. And so I have a lot of experience, including a year-long program that I did focusing on CBT interventions. There is one more orientation that we're going to talk about, when it's the interpersonal psychotherapy, and this is more of a short-term interventions, 4 sessions, 6 sessions, and again, we'll learn a little bit about this type of therapy, and you'll have an opportunity to work on that as we get into the assignments. So let's talk about those assignments. The first thing that you want to take care of course, is the discussion post. I strongly encourage you all to get that on the board as soon as you can during the week. Tuesday, Wednesday is usually ideal. And we're going to talk about your understanding of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. Now, let me stress to you, gang, what is your understanding of CBT or other counseling theories, and what are your thoughts about this therapeutic approach? That doesn't mean off the top of your head. That doesn't mean, oh, CBT I think is this. Please do your readings, and you're going to have a well-educated, well-thought-out response for doing this. And you should also incorporate references when you are writing at any level. Any information that you're drawing upon from any source should always be referenced. Don't think that just because you wrote this off the top of your head that you shouldn't have some research based. Everything we're going to do in this class, everything we do in psychology, really is evidence-based interventions, and so make sure you're using appropriate APA references for all of your sources. So again, do the research first. It'll be very easy for you to answer this question, and if you've done the readings, obviously you've got some reference material to attach to that. What are you hoping to learn about CBT or other counseling theories in this course? Again, talk about what some of your expectations are. If there was a therapy model that you liked, maybe you liked psychoanalytic theory a little bit better, talk about that and what some of your expectations might be for the course. You're going to find I'm pretty easygoing in terms of what I want to see on the discussion board, as long as it's supported. Okay? So if you're reading something, make sure it's supported. And as I always tell students, gang, I'm an expert in diagnostics. I'm very strong in therapy. I'm exceptional at CBT and psychoanalytic theory, but I don't always have all the answers. And so if you come up with something new, prove it. Show me why it's better, and that will go a long way. And by the way, that's going to go a long way with all of your instructors throughout the program. So let's move on. We are also going to have an opportunity to talk about those 4 different therapeutic orientations on the assignment this week. And so you're going to have an opportunity to talk about the theory and the key elements and the goals for treatment and so forth for each one of those 4 different therapeutic models that I talked about, or those ones that are in your reading. Again, do the reading. It'll be very easy for you to complete this assignment. There is a worksheet or a starter sheet, if you will. It's a Microsoft Word document you download, and it will just give you kind of a brief overview. Really, these 5 things times 4 different models is what you want to work on. Now, in terms of length, it's really about the depth. Always think more in terms about describing as opposed to defining, okay? Descriptors go a little bit more in depth. It gives us a richer understanding of what we're talking about, as opposed to a definition, which is usually very short. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Describe, don't define, and do that throughout your entire program. It'll serve you well, but it's not about just writing a few words for each one of these, but maybe a few sentences for each one of these. Give a little more depth and demonstrate that you have a solid understanding of these modalities, and again, it'll serve you very well. One last thing that I want to talk about before we wrap up is there's an e-portfolio reminder here. You guys know what this is. Hopefully you've all set one up, and if you have, you're going to be well ahead, I can assure you, because there's a lot of students that get to the end of the program and then they spend days trying to pull together information, put it into their e-portfolio so they can submit that in their final class. Now, e-portfolio is really for your benefit. It's an opportunity for you to showcase some of your work when you're applying to graduate school. It's really easy to say, here's a copy of my work product, here's the stuff that I've been working on. As you move into your careers, again, it's the same thing that you can showcase some of your efforts. So I encourage you to work on this. It's like bite-sized, tiny little few minutes here and there, a couple times during this class and every class. You'll be done at the end, as opposed to pulling your hair out and trying to pull things together at the end. So pay attention to that, add a couple of things as appropriate. There, I believe, is some information throughout the course, and certainly in week 8, it's going to talk a little bit about the e-portfolio, so make sure that you're setting that up. Now, if you have any questions, if you get stuck or you get hung up, of course, make sure to reach out to me. Please be responsible, read through your stuff. At the bare minimum, you all should be reviewing everything for the week on Monday. And if you have some questions, reach out. I'll be happy to help you. Don't wait till Sunday night at 10 o'clock to send me a question and say, Dr. J, how do I do this? Because chances are I'm not going to see it until Monday afternoon when I check my emails. So make sure and get your questions answered early in the week. Reach out for support. It's great to have you in the class. I look forward to reading your submissions. Have a great week.